You can hold the spotter scope, Grandma. Try not to drop it. The laughter hit like shrapnel. A half circle of young SEAL candidates, muscle-bound, sun-bleached, and brimming with arrogance, grinned across the Coronado Island firing range. The air was dry and sharp with salt, their mockery echoing between the steel targets. At the center of the group stood Chief Warrant Officer Evelyn Reed, late 40s, quiet eyes, silver at her temples. She looked like an administrative ghost haunting the world of alpha males. Her uniform hung loose, her expression unreadable. She didn't answer. Instead, she simply reached down, lifted the heavy spotting scope with steady hands, and mounted it on the tripod. No wasted motion. Her silence was her armor. From the far end of the range, Gunnery Sergeant Miller watched. 30 years in uniform had trained his eyes to spot what others missed, and he saw it. The way Reed's stance settled into the dirt, perfectly balanced. The way her fingers adjusted the focus knob, certain, practiced, knowing. Not a clerk's movements, a shooter's. A chill ran through him. These kids had no idea who they were laughing at. Their ringleader, Lieutenant Commander Thorne, strutted forward. Bronze-skinned, sharp-jawed, the picture of a SEAL poster boy. He lived for the stage and the sound of his own voice. "Take notes, boys," he said, pointing at the targets half a mile away, a mock village crawling with hidden threats. "Out there's your final test. Wind shear, spin drift, Coriolis effect. This isn't something you learn from a PowerPoint, ma'am." The word ma'am dripped with disdain. His followers snickered. Reed didn't flinch. She didn't hear them anymore. Her focus had narrowed to the horizon, the way the wind curled through the canyons, the way dust swirled 1,000 yards away. Every detail spoke to her in a language only she understood. Minutes passed. Then came the final clang of failure. Another sniper team had missed the last shot. The ghost scenario, the most brutal qualification test on the planet, had beaten them all. Thorne cursed, throwing his rifle's logbook to the dirt. Impossible wind, faulty gear, anything but his own failure. Miller's voice boomed over the loudspeaker. "Time! Exercise terminated. No hits." A hush fell over the range. The observation tower door opened. Down the steps came Colonel Davis, the base commander, stone-faced, his presence cutting through the tension. He surveyed the dejected men, then turned his gaze to Chief Reed, who stood calm, hands clasped behind her back. Thorne smirked, still riding his ego. "No point trying again, sir. The wind's got a mind of its own. Maybe Chief Reed can file a complaint with the weather office." The colonel's eyes went hard as gunmetal. He ignored Thorne completely. "Chief," he said quietly, "feel like showing these boys how it's done." Reed didn't smile. She just nodded once. "Yes, sir." Instead of walking to these SEALs' sleek carbon fiber rifles, she moved to a battered Pelican case at the far edge of the line. Inside lay an old M210 enhanced sniper rifle, scarred and heavy, a relic compared to the modern weapons gleaming beside it. The young operators exchanged smirks. She ignored them. Piece by piece, she assembled the rifle with a rhythm that spoke of memory, not muscle. Magazine, bipod, bolt, safety. Each click a verse in a song she'd sung 1,000 times. She didn't touch the wind meters. She simply plucked a blade of grass, held it up, and watched it fall. Then she lay prone. Her breathing slowed until even the rise of her chest disappeared. Thorne folded his arms. "Watch this disaster." She waited. 30 seconds, a full minute. The range was chaos. Gusts howling, mirage shimmering off the sand. No one could hit a target in this wind. Then, suddenly, she moved. Her finger tightened. The rifle spoke 7 times. Thump, 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 thump. It sounded like a single rip in the air. Then, tink, 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 tink. 7 distant impacts. Through the scopes, disbelief turned to awe. Every target, down. The high-value dummy, the rooftop guards, the hidden sniper, no one had seen, even a vehicle target in motion. All destroyed. One shot detonated a mock explosive, a cloud of red smoke marking a perfect kill chain. The entire range was silent. Thorne's jaw hung open. No, that's not possible. The colonel walked forward, gravel crunching under his boots. His voice was calm, cold. Lieutenant, you're about to learn an important lesson about making assumptions. He turned to his aide. Ensign, pull Chief Reed's record. Unclassified portions only. The young officer scrolled, his voice trembling as he read. Name, Chief Warrant Officer 5, Evelyn Reed. Formerly attached to Joint Special Operations Command Task Force. Designation redacted. 17 combat deployments. Over 4,000 operational hours. Primary specialty, Special Operations Target Interdiction. Secondary, High-Angle Marksmanship Instructor, Naval Special Warfare Development Group. The room stilled. DevGru, SEAL Team 6. Decorations, the ensign continued. Silver Star, 2 Bronze Stars with Valor, Distinguished Service Cross, and, note from General, name redacted, holds standing record for longest confirmed kinetic strike in combat, distance classified. Every man on the line stood frozen. The colonel let the silence carve the lesson deep. Lieutenant, he said finally, this course you've been struggling through, Chief Reed designed it 10 years ago. She wrote the doctrine, and that impossible wind you keep blaming, she chose this range, this time of year, to teach operators to feel the world, not just measure it. He pointed to her rifle. That M210, she used that weapon on a moonless night in the Hindu Kush, took out an enemy command cell from over 2,200 meters. To you, it's a relic. To her, it's an instrument. Thorne had no words. The colonel turned to Reed and saluted. Slow, deliberate, full of reverence. Ma'am, he said quietly, my apologies for what you've endured today. It will not happen again. Miller snapped to attention. One by one, every SEAL followed. What began as embarrassment turned into respect. Genuine, raw, unspoken. She gave no speech, no smirk of triumph. She just broke down the rifle, piece by piece, until the weapon was quiet again. The story spread faster than wildfire. By sunset, the legend of the Ghost of Coronado had already reached every base. The tale of the quiet logistics officer who had outshot a generation of elite snipers became an instant myth, a reminder carved into the soul of Naval Special Warfare. Thorne's arrogance became the moral. His name turned into a lesson whispered between candidates. Don't get reeded. The next morning at 0445, Thorne stood outside Reed's office. No swagger, no excuses. When she stepped out, he straightened, saluted, and said simply, Ma'am, I was wrong. Teach me. Reed studied him for a moment, then she nodded. Range, 0500, bring your rifle, and your humility. That was all. From that day, Thorne became her shadow. He learned the way she read the world, the tiny shifts of air, the music in the wind, the patience between heartbeats. She taught him that mastery wasn't noise, it was stillness. 6 months later, deployed in a hostile valley overseas, Thorne's team was pinned down by a sniper hidden beyond the ridgeline. Every digital sensor screamed errors. The crosswinds were impossible. But Thorne breathed, waited, listened. Then he saw it, a brief lull, a perfect window of calm. He fired one shot. The threat disappeared. His after-action report listed the reason for the kill as unconventional wind-reading techniques learned from CW5 Reed. Her legacy had already begun saving lives. Years passed. Captain Thorne, older now, gray at the temples, stood before a new class of SEAL sniper candidates in the same briefing hall where his pride had once burned. On the wall hung a shadow box, 7 polished brass casings arranged in the pattern of Reed's perfect shots. Beneath them, a plaque read, The Reed Drill, Coronado. Competence is silent. Respect is earned. Thorne pointed to it. This, he said, isn't just history. It's the standard. She didn't just beat us that day, she built us. He told them everything. His arrogance, her patience, the shot sequence that defied the wind. He didn't glorify himself. He honored her. True professionalism, he said softly. Has no rank, no gender, no age. It's discipline so deep it doesn't need to be loud. The quiet professional changes everything, not with noise, but with precision. The reed drill became the final qualification test for every SEAL sniper, nearly impossible to pass. A test not of marksmanship, but of humility. To succeed was to master yourself. Chief Evelyn Reed retired quietly years later. No ceremony, no preed. But her rifle, her M210, was placed behind glass in the main hall, a silent guardian over generations of shooters who would never again mistake silence for weakness. And somewhere beyond the base, the wind carried her lesson forward. Because the greatest warriors aren't the ones who shout. They are the ones who listen. They are the ones who act once, and perfectly. In a world addicted to noise, they remain the calm in the chaos. The unseen masters. The ones whose legends whisper long after the echoes fade. And if you ever find yourself doubting the quiet ones, remember the range at Coronado. Remember the ghost who read the wind. For more untold stories where silence defines strength, subscribe to The Final Watch.